welcome back. That was the longest hey I think I've ever said. Welcome back. We are on day 28, and today is all about breaking free from fear and how to overcome your fear so that you can live the life that you dream of. And I was just talking about this on a client call this morning, and I want to share this story and the things that I shared with her because she was feeling like a lot of fear around these new chapters in her life, and I think we can all relate. We've all been there. I know I've been there so many times, and yet we can either feel held back and give into the fear, or we can give into, what's calling us forward, what we really dream of. So on today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips with you to help with that if you're currently feeling that way. Or for future times where you're stepping out of that comfort zone and you're feeling some fear or resistance. As always, as you're hopping on, drop some hearts down below. Let me know that you're here. Hit the thumbs up. If you're catching the replay, comment replay, and let's dive in. So today, as I said, all about fear. And, the thing is like, this is a natural part of the human experience. So the more I learned about fear, the more I understood why my brain was working the way that it was, the easier it actually became to break free. So I want to start this off by saying that I used to feel extreme fear all the time. I had so much anxiety, I had so much self-doubt, and yeah, I felt a lot of fear around doing the things that I really wanted to do. And for quite some time, that fear actually did hold me back, and it did keep me, staying in the comfort zone, staying in what was safe or what was known to me, right? Even though it was like, it's like that bird in the cage or something, and the doors open. This is a horrible example. Like the door is open and the bird can see where it wants to be, but it's like afraid to leave. It's actually a good example. It's afraid to leave its cage. It's afraid to leave the comfort of what it knows. Welcome, welcome, glad you're here. It's afraid to leave what it knows, even though it can see like, oh, but this is what I dream of, and this is where I really want to get to, and these are the things that I know I'm here to do in life, right? And now I'm not talking about the bird anymore. I'm talking about us as humans. We have this comfort zone, and our comfort zone is just basically the things that are normal, the things that we're used to. And so it can feel really scary to, whether that's like going to a different school, starting a new job, moving different cities, traveling, starting your own business, right? Leaving a relationship or changing the dynamics of a relationship, or starting to put yourself out into new relationships, new friendships, new situations, right? All of those things can be moments where we're being called to step out of that comfort zone, step out of that cage of what we know as normal and into something new. And so, as I said, when I first started kind of really working on mindset and conquering my fears, it came down to realizing like, I could have, like, there's always going to be something that brings me fear, because there's always going to be something that's causing me to stretch, and it's something new or different or challenging. But, staying safe and holding myself back is not going to keep me happy. So it was kind of just a mindset shift around that. And so that brings me to task 1 for day 27. Your task 1 is going to be to write about the things right now that you are desiring, that you're feeling called to do, or to, achieve, or to attempt, right? But there's fear. So where is there fear showing up in your life right now? Write that down. Write it out. There's no right or wrong. There's no judgment here, as always. It's like a mindful detachment. And it's just being the observer of, okay, you know what? I see you. I see that there is some fear around this. I have a little bit of fear about that. There's some fear and anxiety around having to do this thing next month. And like, there's fear around these, right? Just put it out on a piece of paper for task 1, because you're going to get it out of your head, and into a physical thing where you can actually see it, you can look at it, and you can be a lot more grounded in actually figuring out, okay, now that I know exactly what it is, I can question, I can look, I can uncover, you know, are these things actually as scary as I'm making them out to be? Because unfortunately our mind tends to make things even scarier than it actually is, because it's just like the more we stay stuck up here, the less we're actually here where our power is, you know, within ourselves, right? So that's your task one. And I know for me, like I said, you know, there was a time, feels like years and it feels like a lifetime ago, really, but where I was juggling between, do I continue playing university volleyball, taking courses because I had a scholarship, but being absolutely miserable in school and just doing it because it was paid for and because it was like expected. You know, a lot of people were like, well, you got to take advantage of that, right? Like, you know, just get a degree, even if it's not something, like I had no idea what I really wanted to do. So there was that. I would say it was kind of the cage. That was kind of the safety or the normal. But then I was that bird with the door open in the cage looking out through the window at the pastures and thinking about travel and thinking about all the things I wanted to do, working with elephants, scuba diving, skydiving, going to Australia, like Bali, India, all of these things, you know, being able to create a business for myself. I didn't know what that would look like, but I had all this vision, all these dreams in front of me of like, that's where I want to be. And yet there was totally fear. There was so much fear around like, what happens if I step out of this cage and try to fly? What happens if I try to, yay, I'm so glad you liked the example. It actually is working out perfectly. Totally did not plan that, so that's a win. I kind of felt like, what if I fall, right? And so there was fear, and there's fear of judgment, there's fear of failure, there's fear of making mistakes, there's fear of, you know, like, am I going to make a decision I'll regret forever and miss out on like all these opportunities that I could have or should have stuck to, right? And so in terms of that, it was really like the shift, and I talk about the exact process inside my mindset training. As I've mentioned before, it's linked down below. The exact 3-step process I use and that I teach my clients to really break free from any of the limitations and start living the life that they dream of and living for themselves, because it's a big process and I'm not going to go into all of the details on here today. But I started focusing on that process, and I started realizing I could stay here in this place forever and always be looking over here, always be like basically pining over this life that I really want, but feeling afraid of like, what if it doesn't work, but being really unhappy over here. Or I could take that leap and shift the mindset so that even if it doesn't work immediately, or even if I fall, or even if I get knocked down, at least I'm doing things that I love and that I'm passionate about and that I'm excited about, and I'm learning and growing in the process. Because the thing about fear is it keeps you from actually growing. And I personally believe we're all here on this planet to grow, to evolve, to learn, to continue to become the most complete, whole versions of ourselves. So if we're afraid of that and we never take the chance, we never take that leap or that step, then we're really going to end up just living a life that we're not happy in. And years later, we're going to look back and regret. I think you will have more regrets from staying in the comfort zone and living with fear than the regrets you would have from taking those steps. And I can't even imagine, like, I actually have 0 regrets because every single thing, like, I experienced all of my, like, so many, like, almost all of my dreams I experienced over the last 8 years, because I just kept pushing for, like, this is what's pulling me forward. This is what's calling me. This is what makes me excited. This is what, I'm passionate about. And so I just kept finding a way. And again, that didn't mean there wasn't fear. It was that I chose to focus more on the excitement or the desire than the fear. Had I given the power to the fear, I would have just stopped and given up. But I knew that that wasn't going to make me happy either. So staying there actually was going to bring me more regrets than the potential for failure, the potential of falling when it doesn't work exactly how you want it to. So it's all about the perspective shift. It's all about uncovering and realizing, really shifting that. I think when for me, because with losing my brother, I was like, life happens really fast. So I don't want to spend my time miserable. I don't want to do another 3 years of university for a piece of paper that I might not ever use because I'm just taking courses because they're paid for on a scholarship and I'm hurting myself playing volleyball. I'm not happy, all of these things. It just didn't make sense to me. Because if life is short and we don't know when our time could come, why aren't we spending it doing the things that we absolutely love every day? And why don't we believe that we deserve that, right? So it's a huge, huge paradigm shift. I think more people at the end of their life on their deathbeds probably regret the things that they didn't do than like, I really regret that I took that trip that one time. I really regret that I moved to this city when I wanted to, or really regret that I quit my job and started doing things I loved each day. They're probably not saying that. Chances are they're regretting like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have taken that leap. I wish I would have reached out to that person. I wish I would have applied for that job. I wish, right? So it's all about reframing the fear. So that is going to be task 2 before I leave you today. Task 1, you've uncovered where is the fear showing up in your life right now. Task 2 is going to be to look at, weigh out the pros and cons, I guess, is where I'm actually going to take this. So like the fears that you have, now looking at that list, and you don't necessarily need to journal on this unless you want to, but look at your list from task 1 and then just straight up ask yourself, okay, so I'm feeling fear about moving to a new city. Then ask yourself, will I regret if I move here and it doesn't work out? Or will I be more regretful, maybe resentful, frustrated, stuck if I just stay here where I'm not happy anyway, right? Because you have 2 options. Either one could be amazing, either one could be really frustrating. So, but which one makes the most sense to you? And if you're choosing to do the same thing and choosing insanity, the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, then that's not necessarily going to bring you happiness, right? That's not going to help you break out of the fear to create the life that you want. And that's the other question, is going through that list and going, okay, but what do I really want? And I feel like that actually is the simplest thing to do, is to look at your list of fears from task 1 and then say, okay, I see that I have a fear about this, but what do I really want? Because that's the ultimate choice. If you want to go do that thing, if you are sitting in this cage looking out and you're saying, I want to do all these things in my life, then it's actually a very simple choice of, am I going to give into the fear or am I going to go fucking do it? Am I going to push my comfort zone? Am I going to take, even if it's a baby step, towards that? Or am I just going to continue to be here in the fear, but dreaming about that? So I'm feeling anxious and frustrated and desiring it and, sad that I don't have it, but I'm just going to still stay here and choose to stay in this emotion, because that is the choice. So it's like, which one are you going to choose? Which discomfort are you going to choose? The discomfort of staying here in the fear where you don't want to be, or the discomfort of taking a step out of your comfort zone, pushing through, breaking through that cage to go get what you want. And that's the choice. So that is your task 2 for today. Yeah, this really, like, it may sound simple in some ways, but it's also, I know that it takes work to push that comfort zone. One of the things I always tell my clients is, like, your comfort zone expands with you, though. So every time you push that comfort zone a little bit, it expands, and then the fear decreases because you're like, oh yeah, I've done that before, I can do that again. It's like people who were afraid of being on an airplane. Well, once they got on an airplane, then it maybe felt a little bit easier. And then by the time they had flown 2, 3, 4, 5 times, chances are they probably didn't really have fear of flying anymore because the comfort zone expanded and it became something that felt normal. It felt okay. It felt easy. That was the same for me with traveling by myself. There was like there wasn't actually much, but there was a tiny bit of fear when I did my first solo trip by myself. But every single time after that too, it was like, there's no fear at all. And like zero fear. I'm just like, yeah, let's do this. And I'm going to go. But that comfort zone grew and grew. It's the same with me showing up on video. The first time I showed up on video, there was a ton of fear. Now I show up and there's no fear at all. But my comfort zone had to grow, and the only way it could grow was by me pushing that fear and stepping and increasing, like pushing through that boundary, so to speak. So that is your homework for today, is really like get clear on, like, am I going to keep choosing fear, or am I going to choose love? Am I going to choose the things that I actually want, the things that light me up and make me excited? And again, if you want more support with the actual deep mindset reprogramming to help you do that, and my exact process that I use and that I share with my clients to help them create massive, massive changes in 90 days or less to align with the life that they desire, check out the mindset training. Again, I'll drop it in the links down below. That will help you so much and set you up for success, because as long as your mindset is in fear and limitation and lack, you're gonna stay stuck in the struggle. But if you can reprogram it, and if you can keep shifting every day, keep choosing to think differently, choosing to see differently, then your life will change so much, my friend. It will change so much, and I want that for you, because I'd love to see you flying free, like that bird, you know, flying free, doing the things that you dream of. So you can check out that training in the links below. If you found this helpful, again, drop some hearts or thumbs up, let me know, and I will see you tomorrow for the next day of the challenge. We're so close to the end, and I hope you've been enjoying it. I hope you've been benefiting, and I will see you tomorrow.